Good afternoon. Good afternoon. As you know, we're talking about all month staying in God's will or how to get God's favor. The process that it takes. And this process can take 10 years, 5 years, 1 year. The Bible says our time's not God's time. But in due time, God's going to bless us with the blessing that He has for us. Well, today's lesson is about how to stay in God's will when you feel like He's forgotten you. When you feel like you're out there by yourself. When you feel like there's no hope in sight. When you feel like you're being crushed like a grape. I done been there, y'all. I done been there. It was not a good feeling. It was not a good feeling at all. And the way I made it through was only by the help of the good Lord. You see, in those times when we feel like we're done for, we can't make it, I have to know that God is there for us. And that's the only point of this lesson. So that God is there for us. The Bible says he upholds us with His right hand. And we're still talking about Joseph, okay? Well, Joseph, as we talked about last week, he was thrown in jail for something he didn't do. But God showed him favor and let the man that was over jail trust Joseph to actually run the place. Ain't that something? You're locked up, but you got power. You're locked up. You're locked up in chains, but you're free. Good God from dying. Thank God for that. And we're going to go, I'm going verses 40 and 11. It says, now Joseph, Potiphar, the Pharaoh was in my hands, and took grapes and squeezed them Pharaoh's cup, and then took place. Then Joseph said to him, this is dream interpreted. And then that was the chief baker, and Joseph told him he's going to die. But here's the cupbearer. He says Joseph answered and said, "This interpretation of of the three baskets, representing 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up by hand, and thou shalt be hanged on a gallows. Now, this is the baker, okay? He got killed, but the cupbearer lived. When the cupbearer got out of jail, he actually said, Joseph, who? He was so happy to get out to the point where he had forgotten about Joseph. God had not forgotten about Joseph, because you know what? God never forgets us. We may think he does, but he does not. You know, there are times in my life where I thought God had got me. But in the end, when I went through the process, and I got the blessing, I realized that God was there for me. Because as we read on, Pharaoh had a dream that he could not interpret. And that's when God brought to the cupbearer's mind Joseph. And our next lesson will be how God used the gift that God gave Joseph to actually free him from the chains of jail. You see, if Joseph had gone from the pit to the prison, he would never have developed that skill that allowed him to get free from the chains that allowed God to work in his life. You see, they're called life lessons. It's like like we said in last lesson, we'll work 2 or 3 jobs to get the house, to get the car. We will go to school for 4 or 5 years to get a degree that we don't use. Those things are temporary, but those things will not last. But what God gives us lasts for a lifetime. It lasts even when we're dead. Just think about that. What God gives us lasts a lifetime. And if we keep that in mind, we will know that just like I said, God will never leave us. God will never leave us. He will never leave us. So the next time we feel like we're down for the count, that God has forgotten us, He has not forgotten us. He loves us. He cares for us. So God is there watching us, watching out for us. And I'm so glad that, because sometimes I make mistakes. Sometimes I get in situations that I can't get myself out of, but no, God can. Whether I caused them or whether they're to happen in my life naturally. Go through the process of obtaining God's favor. And trust God through everything that you go through. Trust God through everything that we go through. For God is there. For God is there to help us out, to support us. And if you want to join a movement called Don't Give Up, there's no money, There's no haze, no membership fee. All we ask that you encourage someone else who's going through a so-called hard time, going to struggle in life. Give them a smile, a kind word, an elbow bump, or a fist bump nowadays. Let them know that everything gonna be all right. Let them know that everything gonna be all right by God's mighty hand. And I will be back with you on July 22nd. And that I want to say, and I'm just taking a break, but I'll be back on July 22nd because God has been so good. Good God from Zion. And go with God. Let him lead the way in your life. Have a great day.